How will I control my students?
To be an effective teacher, one must work your way up the pyramid. One must first start with possessing good behavioural management skills, evident in daily routines. This will help to build a class community. Teachers must communicate clear expectations and maintain positive reinforcement when good behaviour is observed. Together with effective strategies to implement in the classroom, the teacher will gain control of a class.
We will be focusing on the following case study. In a Year 2 class, the noise level had reached what the teacher had deemed unacceptable. After using a few strategies to get their attention, the teacher could not control the class and proceeded to yell at the students in order to gain their attention and lower the noise level in the class.
Based on the premise that you should not yell at your students, we will explore alternative ways to deal with classroom management. Why you should not yell at your students, establishing class rules and building a class community, positive reinforcement of what is acceptable behaviour, and lastly, effective strategies to implement in the classroom.
Why is yelling at your students bad? Yelling harms the relationship between teacher and student. There's no doubt that yelling puts strain on any relationship, whether it be a teacher-student or a parent-child relationship. Neither relationship can handle too much yelling. And without a strong relationship, nothing we say or do will really make much of an impact. I know it's easy for us to lose our cool, but considering the cost of our reactions, should help keep us from flying off the handle too often. Yelling causes teachers to stress out and feel remorse later on. Teachers can raise their voices to gain their students' attention, but they should not resort to screaming at the children. Yelling serves as a distraction. When we yell at our students, do we honestly think they really hear what we are saying? No, they just hear the yelling. As a result, they don't leave the conversation thinking about what they did wrong. Instead, they either are thinking about how hilarious it was that we blew up, or they are upset and hurt. Studies show that a child's brain actually stops functioning when they are being yelled at, and it cannot accept new information. They just turn you off and feel bad about themselves. Yelling makes us look ridiculous. Yelling can make us feel powerful, like we're in control of the situation. But to anyone watching, we look like an idiot. When we yell, we might as well be screaming, "I am not in control of myself or my students." And speaking of our students, how do they react when we yell? If our yelling doesn't leave them too upset, it makes you the star of a hilarious story that will become legend in the years to come. Is that really what we want? Yelling doesn't produce lasting change. When we yell, the kids might straighten up for a few moments, but because we didn't reach their hearts, no lasting change will occur. They'll likely be back at it tomorrow, and then what will we do then? Yell louder? Talk about a vicious cycle. Yelling creates a poor role model out of a teacher. Students will see yelling as acceptable behavior if the teacher is always doing it. We are helping create upset, angry and moody students in our society. Let's put a stop to it. Students see and notice everything, even when teachers think they are not looking. Once the students get to know their teacher, they will begin to emulate the behaviors exhibited in class, whether they are positive or negative. When teachers show the students what they should do, they are more likely to make the right choices and display positive behaviors.
What are educational theories and why are they important? Educational theories help us to understand how students learn. Different theories are better suited over others based on the teacher's pedagogy, personality, and teaching philosophy. As a pre-service teacher trying to understand how to control our class, you must find a suitable theory or theories to support your behavioural management style, to use evidence-based research to lead you on your way to control your class. Step 1. Choosing a theory and asking yourself, which education theory will I subscribe to? Some theories include goal-centered theory, cognitive behavioural theory, and positive behaviour leadership model. Goal-centered theory. Goal-centered theory requires teachers to reflect on needs-based explanations for their students' misbehaviour and finding alternate ways for their needs to be met whilst encouraging good behaviour. GCT theory focuses on students' feelings, thoughts and behaviours. and implementing strategies to prevent misbehaviour. Some strategies might include rules and their consequences, avoiding punishment, encouraging responsible behaviour, self-responsibility, communicating expectations, building class relationships based on trust, and meeting the social needs of students to belong, feel safe and valued in the classroom. Cognitive behavioural theory. The aim is to develop students' self-management skills, to be self-directed and responsible for their behaviour, developing students' independent cognitive skills to manage that behaviour. Teachers must explicitly teach students constructive thinking skills so they can learn to manage themselves. Such strategies include rewards and punishment. The positive behaviour leadership model is a practical approach to behavioural management, which focuses on empowering students to become accountable for their own behavioural choices. Teachers should have a clear discipline plan and class rules to express the shared rights and responsibilities of all. Teachers should minimise student confrontation and potential embarrassment, offering students choices. Model respectful and dignified behaviour. Clearly communicate expectations positively. The PBL model emphasises the importance of preventative strategies to ensure that appropriate behaviour is encouraged and inappropriate behaviours are minimised. Strategies include developing a positive class atmosphere.
Where to start? To be an effective teacher with the ability to control your class, you must first start with building the right foundation. This includes building a positive class community, establishing class rules and routines, and positive reinforcement of what is acceptable behaviour.
Step 2. Creating a class community. The teacher must do the following. Show genuine care and respect for students. Listen and talk to students. Positive relationships need to be created between teacher and student to student. Be sensitive and responsive to student needs. Create a safe and welcoming environment where there are open lines of communication. Learning needs to be fun and engaging in a positive learning classroom.
Step 3. Establishing class routines. Establishing class rules and routines to build class community. It is important early in the school year, preferably within the first 2 weeks, to establish class ground rules, to let students know what is acceptable behaviour, and to establish a routine that the students can begin to get familiar with. Doing this will also allow students to become part of and build a class community where all students are valued and are aware of what is expected of them. How to establish class rules. The recipe for community also calls for plenty of opportunity for the whole class to collaborate on common endeavours. In an attempt to create class community and get students working together right from the beginning of the year, creating class rules can be a whole class task. Asking students how they would like to be treated in the class and what they think might be important class rules for everyone to follow. This way students will feel responsible for their actions, as they played a part in creating them. They are not a set of rules forced on them by the teacher. These class rules will begin to develop a positive class relationship between students and also with the teacher. This class community will be a place for students to feel safe in, to be valued, respected, and be motivated to participate and learn. Step 4. Positive reinforcement of what is acceptable behaviour. In keeping with the model of creating a positive class community, the teacher should continue to reinforce positive behaviour, as this will encourage students to behave in acceptable ways, which will become habit. A positive approach: don't focus on bad behaviour, but rather reinforce what is acceptable behaviour and model it yourself.
Now we will discuss some effective management strategies that we can implement in the classroom. In order to maintain discipline and effective classroom management in your classroom, you will need to 1. Have rules. Have a clear set of rules in your classroom. Rules are important and will help maintain classroom management and discipline. 2. Have expectations. Make sure your students know what you want from them. Start the day with explaining the rules and expectations and make sure the students are aware of the consequences. 3. Reward students for their positive behaviour. This will also help with students who are misbehaving. When they see students who are being rewarded, they too will want a reward. 4. When the noise level gets too loud, instead of raising your voice, clap your hands in a pattern and have the students follow. 5. Have attention grabbers in your classroom. For example, teacher says hocus pocus, students say everybody focus. 6. If students enter the classroom in an inappropriate manner, send them out and have them line up at the door, standing silently, and when they are ready, get the students to enter the room again. Give positive comments on improved behaviour. If there is a problem, repeat the process. Remember, a calm teacher is an effective teacher.